Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Let's do this.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. Everybody on YouTube, big shout out to you guys. Rumble and Pilled, yeah, also a shout out as well. Guys, right off the bat, holy shit, it's all real. Holy shit, chat, it's all real. Our realities are falling apart all around us. We have debunkers having generational crash outs. It's starting to happen. And I'm here to tell them and all of you, this is just the beginning. We haven't even got to the point where real, serious people have started to admit that the videos are real yet. When we get to that point, boy, those crash outs, get your cameras ready, chat. We're going to be having memes for years and years and years on the crash outs. Now, right off the bat, I want to be serious for a moment. I like to insert a lot of humor because we're dealing with something that is really horrific and shatters a lot of people's minds if you don't insert some humor into it. But this video right here is, we just hit jackpot. We hit straight up jackpot. I still cannot fathom how this managed to get onto the internet. It turns out James Clapper is the one who set up the enterprise networking. He's the one that said we need to get all the government agencies on the same network. And that's how this video got leaked. Almost certainly that's how this video ended up got seen by Edward Lin. So we might have James Clapper to thank for this. Oh, by the way, we're going to try something new. Check this out. Wait, why is it not working? StreamYard. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh, shit. Look at that. You guys can see yourselves. You guys are part of the live stream right now. Do you feel interactive? Look at this. Do you feel the interaction, chat? I hope you do. So James Clapper might be the reason why we got these videos. Now, the reason why this is so important, why is this so huge? Man, this video. So everybody's been talking about this alien stuff for a while now. And this video, specifically this color one we're looking at here, this shows this whole thing was an operation. What we're watching in these videos is military surveillance capabilities. They targeted a civilian airliner. They targeted a civilian airliner. Now, what I do want to say, guys, I see y'all in the chat over there, is I may have been too doomerish on the passengers. Several people pointed out last time that we may not be able to see the body temperatures of people inside the plane. So just because we don't see like any heat at all from the inside doesn't necessarily mean that there's not people alive in there. Holy shit, look at that. Just disappears. Just straight up disappears. And now we've got Kratsios saying stuff like we have the ability to manipulate time and space. We have Trump saying that we have weapons that nobody understands. Trump is out there saying we have weapons nobody understands. Well, here it is. Here's what the CIA is doing with those weapons nobody understands. The CIA is taking their plasma orbs and they're spinning it around stuff in triangle formations, and then they collapse it down, and then it just disappears. Just disappears. So they've been playing with lightning, chat. They've been playing with lightning. They're basically doing like Zeus things right now. They figured out how to make their little lightning balls, and then they figured out how to just zap things away to the next dimension. And I don't know about you guys, but that scares the shit out of me. That's scary. I wish this was aliens. I wish that was aliens. Can that just be aliens? It would be a lot more palatable. But no, the CIA under Obama conducted with JSOC, which is whatever, the special forces, super special secret special forces guys, they targeted a civilian airliner. And the scary part about that, guys, for the government to do anything, they have to follow this bureaucracy. Whatever rules are written, they have to follow those rules to the letter. So there were some rules that were written that allowed enough ambiguity to justify what we saw in that video, which is crazy to me. Like, what I'm saying, to just break it down, is that somebody in the CIA or in the White House or whatever, it might have been Avril Haines herself. I've been thinking about this earlier. It may have been Avril Haines herself that did the calculation to decide that 20 engineers or whatever, that's fine. We can take out 219 bystanders. 219 bystanders is worth the 20 engineers that were defecting to China. Somebody made that decision. And what's crazy about that? You guys know what's crazy about that. That goes, if that went public, that somebody did that, there's no justifying that. There's no justifying that to the public. The public is going to lose their mind over that. You targeted a civilian airliner with an American on board. Multiple Americans, technically. Holy shit. We stumbled across the biggest conspiracy ever. We stumbled across the biggest conspiracy ever. And I'm basically already dead. I'm already dead. I'm basically living on borrowed time right now. Obviously, somebody wanted this out, because otherwise there's no way I would have got to this point. Like many people have pointed out, if this was real, Ashton wouldn't be alive. You are 100% right. There's obviously somebody protecting me on the inside, or some group wants this out, or it's been long enough. I'll say I'm glad I did not figure this out back in 2014, and I'm glad I did not figure this out under Biden, although I kind of did, but like near the trail end of it, because holy schmolies. And guys, out of all of what I just said, we haven't even got to the topic for tonight. Not only did they conduct a black operation and, like, you know, for all intents and purposes, kill 239 people and annihilate a plane, they actually teleported it with some plasma orbs. They broke out technology that they shouldn't have broke out. Like, they shouldn't have broke that technology out. Somebody got like a little too loosey-goosey with the, oh, let's use the super orbs that we never get to use. Please, let me use it. Obama. I can imagine James Clapper. Please, Obama, can I please use the plasma orbs today? Can I press the button that sends the plasma orbs out? And Obama says, okay, James, we'll let you, you can have one this time. I got to annihilate the last wedding party. You can take this one out. Jesus, chat. And somehow that's not even enough. Somehow they're also hiding free energy and gravity manipulation. Free energy and gravity manipulation. Straight up free energy. Hey, Matt in the Pilled, appreciate you. Hey, Rumbled guys. The orbs themselves are able to produce over unity. It's not just fusion. It's super, super, super advanced fusion. Somebody's been hiding that too. I mean, we're talking, they're hiding breakthroughs that like people would say, if these were real, they should be trillionaires. They should win all these Nobel Prizes. Yeah, exactly. Man, my sound. They're hiding all that stuff. They're hiding all of that. That is really scary. Exactly. Why? For control. For control reasons. So here's the other thing. They're hiding it for control. No doubt. This isn't about money. This is not about money. We are beyond money, way beyond money at this point. We're at the point now where like we're controlling people's perceptions. We're controlling the economies. This is like Batman Begins with whatever the Illuminati group was called or whatever, where they're like, we tried a new theory or new tactics this time. It's called economics. Liam Neeson's character. That's what this is like now. And here's the thing that scares me about it, guys. I get it. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. What it feels like to me, my feelings on it, is it feels like I'm looking at myself, at a reflection of myself in the future. That's what it feels like. That's why I posted that, what's it called? Unlimited Blade Works clip. Because it feels like I'm looking at a version of myself in the future. A version of myself that knows that you have to do anything to maintain this technology. Like we have to really, this is why being an influencer is important in this topic. We have to have the hardest conversations that there are. And the hardest conversation here is, what choice do the people have to you have to cover this up? I mean, I don't see another way it plays out. You know, and even what we're doing right now, they have perfect control. There's really almost nothing we can do. We're stuck inside of a box. That's the reality of it. And we might as well sit and enjoy the show while we're in it. Yeah, and here's the thing. And this is a legit question. This is hyperbolic, but it's legit. When is it treason? At what point has the line been crossed? Are you ready for the real answer? There is no line. There is no line. That's the scary answer. There actually is no line. Whatever it takes to maintain control of the technology to make sure that the planet does not get destroyed, that there's no chance that the planet gets destroyed. I tell you what, chat, this is how I'll put it. If you're an American, study 0-point energy technology. Study the hell out of it. If you're not an American, if you're not from a country that's allied with the United States, the last thing in the world you want to do is study 0-point energy technology. The last thing in the world. I'll say, I am super glad that I'm an American citizen. If I was not an American citizen, I definitely would not be alive right now. And some of that bureaucracy protects American citizens, but that bureaucracy does not protect people of other countries. And the CIA basically has free reign to do whatever they want, take out anybody they want that they think is a threat to what they're trying to establish in the future. That's what targeting that plane tells me. There was no Osama bin Laden or Hitler on that plane. There were engineers on the plane, semiconductor engineers, microchip engineers on the plane. Think about that. They weren't targeting somebody because he was making angry posts on social media. They weren't targeting somebody because they were starting an uprising. They were targeting people because they had intellectual property. They had knowledge about advanced technology. I mean, that's what targeting that plane has to be about, right? Scary, man. So they target it in the most ironic way, too. They use the technology that China and Russia are trying to get. Yeah, it's not cool at all, really, right? It's not cool at all. And this is where, like, Honestly, chat, I am morally conflicted. I've never been this morally conflicted in my whole life. Not about religion, not about anything. Because the more I reveal on my stream about how the technology works, the more I put Americans in danger in the future. Not like actively. And yes, I understand it's indirect, but still, shit, I don't care if it's indirect. Right? Because I realize there's only going to be one owner of this technology. So the moment two factions get this, it's going to be balls to the walls. We're going to see horrors that people have never seen before. Forget nuclear weapons. You guys better not be scared of nuclear weapons. Be scared of just planes disappearing out of the sky, never be seen again. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's going to be horrific, where people are going to be like, well, where'd they go? Remember, what was that? Like, there's been multiple TV shows about it where they just disappear. People just disappear. That's it. What was it? They just did the one on HBO. Some people liked it. Some people hated it. I don't even remember. So tonight, I want to dig into the science. We've already called out Sierra Nevada Corporation enough. We called it the DOD and the Air Force. We went knocking, and we didn't get a response. We heard nothing back. That tells us something, too. And we put them on notice. Sierra Nevada Corporation got pulled out of complete obscurity. No one had any idea who they were. And now we know they are producing and providing the surveillance capability to do illegal covert operations. And we're not going to stop the drama. I'm going to pump the drama up. The drama is what people come for. That's what people stay for. The science is the boring part. That's the part where, you know, the egghead stuff, the dumb science bitches. But tonight, I'm going against the grain, guys. We're going against the grain, and we're going to go do a little science. So I believe it was Blokeman0 who shared this with me. This scientific paper is from 2015, and it is called A Magnetic Wormhole. Now, the reason why I was excited by this paper is because we have been looking, everything we've been looking at and researching around the physics of MH370 points to electromagnetism. All of it does, even zero-point energy, Tesla, everything. And, oh, can I move this little chat box? Whatever. I'll figure that out later. And so when I started reading this right away, I started thinking, like, what are the wormhole theories? Because now we've been talking about macroscopic phase conjugation, which is this idea of like vibrating down to a single point. And so maybe I want to learn, like, what are all the wormhole theories? And maybe we'll find one that aligns with what we've been looking for. Now, this one right away, I found some things that stuck out to me. So it says that there may be a strategy to produce an electromagnetic wormhole, or a wormhole through electromagnetic waves. Based on metamaterials, it could allow for an electromagnetic wave propagation between 2 points in space through an invisible tunnel. Reminds you a little bit of quantum tunneling. And there's a little Jack Sarfati there with the metamaterials. However, an actual realization has not been possible until now. Here we construct and experimentally demonstrate a magnetostatic wormhole. Magnetostatic is an interesting use of terms here because static would refer to a static electricity. So we would be basically saying they're producing a static electric bubble, magnetic bubble. Using metamaterials and metasurfaces, our wormhole transfers the magnetic field from one point in space to another through a path that is magnetically undetectable. We experimentally show that the magnetic field from a source at one end of the wormhole appears at the other end as an isolated magnetic monopolar field. Wow. Creating the illusion of a magnetic field propagating through a tunnel outside of 3D space. And then it says about practical applications. That's exactly what we're looking for. This reminds me of Tom Bearden. Tom Bearden used this example of his hand And he tried to say, when you're talking about dimensions, you have to think of your hand in terms of like how there might be this invisible tunnel that connects your fingers that you don't see within your three-dimensional reality. And that's what this is saying right here. And it says right there as well that it is magnetically invisible or magnetically undetectable. What they're saying there is there's no electromagnetic carrier wave. So this is like the Aharonov-Bohm effect. Aharonov-Bohm effect, no electromagnetic waves, but there's still disturbance. There's still action. And so if we scale that up, we can produce action with no electromagnetic waves and cause something to poof, teleport. Filter Dog, thank you very much for the shades, brother. Appreciate you. Let me hit up some of these dogs. My channel, thank you very much. Everybody upvote, appreciate you guys. And we're going to go through some more of this paper right here in a second. White Walker Man, pour the bonkers, everybody. What's the question? Let's see. Yeah, it really makes you think. Honestly, I think just a lot of them, you know, just it's hard to believe. You can't really get mad. Can't get mad, guys. White Walker Man again. I've been following since the middle school. I always knew something was up. Crazy how far it's come. Yeah, we've come a long way from when MH370 first disappeared, for sure. Now, I got some notes here I want to look at. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So one of the things it says here, I'm just going to show the image and I'm just going to read off some of this. So you guys can take a look at this paper yourself. I'll show you this cool image while I read off this. It says, in this work, we construct an actual 3D wormhole for magnetostatic fields. It will allow the passage of a magnetic field between distant regions while the region of propagation remains magnetically invisible. They do not design their wormhole based on transformation optics. Instead, they're designing the possibilities that magnetic metamaterials can shape static magnetic fields. The next thing it says in their results, the magnetostatic wormhole requires constructing a tunnel for magnetic fields acting as if it was outside of usual 3D space. The first property to be satisfied is to magnetically decouple a given volume from the surrounding 3D space. The volume enclosed by a superconducting shell has this property. We consider here a spherical superconducting shell. A second property, that I think is the figure you guys are looking at. A superconducting shell. A second property is that the whole resulting wormhole cannot be magnetically detectable from its exterior. So basically, it has to be a bubble that has been displaced from space-time. The superconducting spherical shell would distort an applied field and thus be detectable. So you can see the shell, but you can't see the inside. And it says, this means a very thin ferromagnetic layer, like iron, with a permeability of mu, I think that's mu, epsilon mu, yeah. Surrounding the superconducting shell effectively cancels the global magnetic response. So what this means, I'm going to read that again. A very thin ferromagnetic layer surrounding the superconducting shell effectively cancels the global magnetic response. So what they're saying is you can use electromagnetism to decouple a bubble of space-time, a region, from the surrounding area, from the surrounding region. And it says the experimental setup. I'll just scroll down here to this part where you guys can read it. Right here. The experimental setup to demonstrate the wormhole properties uses a pair of Helmholtz coils of radius r separated by distance r. Wow. When I heard that, I went, wait a minute. Aren't Helmholtz coils those spherical coils like this that they put around the warp drives or our planet, like our Star Trek Enterprises or whatever? Yes. The Helmholtz coils are the rings that you put around your object, right? And that is exactly what we're seeing in the MH370 videos. When we see the MH370 video, it looks like, here we go. It's a Helmholtz coil around the plane. They're in a ring formation around the plane. It's just not a physical ring. They're forming a ring by spinning around the plane in a ring formation. How wild is that? So to me, that's always been the giveaway. When people say, like, Ashton, how did you know what gave away that was teleportation instead of annihilation or something? It's because I'm looking at a Helmholtz coil around the plane. Why are they forming a Helmholtz coil around the plane? It's got to be some form of teleportation. So what this study is saying is there's one Helmholtz coil here around the plane, and they're producing another Helmholtz coil somewhere else. The Helmholtz coils are making a tunnel between them. They're making the bridge between 3D space-time between the Helmholtz coils. So for the people out there who believe that there's 3 orbs on the other side and that my name is fake, what if my name ends up being fake? What if it's 6 orbs? That'll be the most awkward shit ever. Well, it turns out, chat, legal name change. Ashton 6 Orbs. That's going to be my new name. There may be 3 orbs on the other side because maybe they need a Helmholtz coil on the other side. Maybe they're spinning on one side and they're counter-propagating on the other side. Like, okay, let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Shit. Ashton 6 Orbs. It's going to be Ashton 6 Orbs, huh? The debunkers are going to come back. The debunkers are going to come back and be like, Ashton Forbes was wrong. You can't trust him. He said it was 4 orbs and it was actually 6 orbs the whole time. Even his name is fake. And I'll be like, you know what? They got me on this one, chat. They got me. Turned out it was 6 orbs you need to teleport, not 4. Okay. So then he says they not only, the reason why Helmholtz coils, settle down, chat. The reason why Helmholtz coils are so important as well, they have a secondary purpose. There's a dead zone in the middle. The Helmholtz coil has a dead zone in the middle of it. That's why it's a ring. There's a magnetic dead zone in the middle, and that's what produces the bubble that we need. So our plane has a Helmholtz coil spinning around it, and there's a safety zone in the middle of it. The safety magnetic zone around the plane, right? And that would be the singularity, yes. As Quantum Gravity says. And shout out to Little Huda Crunk. I see you in the chat. Shout out to His Highness and all the OGs in the chat. I think I saw Amanda there as well. Okay. So then they're measuring the thing to see what happens, the fields. Where's my thing? And they can see it actually teleport. Now let's go down to this part. Yeah, right here. Let's see. The complete wormhole shows an excellent cloaking behavior, whereas the superconducting and ferromagnetic parts separately yield clear field distortions. Where's the thing I want? Oh, even in this case, a very good cancellation of the field distortion is achieved for the full wormhole and not for its components separately. In this way, we confirm the magnetic undetectability of the wormhole. Experiments show clear transmission of magnetic field through the wormhole as well. The dipolar-like magnetic field created by the feeding coil at one end of the wormhole is transformed at the opposite end into a monopolar-like field. Actually, the spatial dependence of the exiting field tends to be 1 divided by d to the 1.5. Huh. Since close to the opening field resembles that of a disk monopoles rather than that of a single one. So what they're saying is that our magnetic wormhole thus creates the illusion of a magnetic field coming out of nowhere. Wow. Let's go, chat. Oh, wait, you're not even sharing. I probably should have been sharing my screen. Holy crap. That's what I was reading the whole time. Our magnetic wormhole thus creates the illusion of a magnetic field that comes out of nowhere. So we're having a plane disappear in a Helmholtz coil. What's happening? It's coming out somewhere else. Now the discussion. Oh, God, I can fix the light situation. Although we have constructed a spherical wormhole, similar results can be obtained for the shape of an elongated ellipsoid that could be extended to long distances in one direction. That's a Yahtzee to me right there. So if you change it to an ellipsoidal shape, it could extend to a long distance in one direction. So this is where I would say we would add 1 or 3 more orbs, and you're going to be able to create a shape where you're sending an object somewhere. And as Tommy Bird points out in the chat, how long? This is the real question. More and more I read about this technology is not godlike. Excuse me, it's not godlike yet. I think this is short-range teleportation. They might have been trying to figure out how far they can teleport. Like, I don't think this can go that far. I mean, maybe in theory, it's going to be able to go infinitely far. Yes. I mean, it's teleportation. But when they were doing it, I think it was, quote unquote, long distances, but, you know, thousands of miles, not millions of miles. So early stage teleportation is what I'm guessing. And then it talks about using it on magnet and MRIs. Both ends of the wormhole have been considered only in an approximate way. Because of the finite openings, the cloaking properties will not be perfect. Now, I thought this was interesting when it said the cloaking properties will not be perfect, because in the MH370 video, you can see the tail of the plane sticking out of the first frame of the wormhole. So if you can see the tail of the plane sticking out, does that mean that like somehow we're seeing like there's some kind of reflection of like the actual plane through the wormhole? Just a thought. And then it says, just to close it out, to sum it up, we have demonstrated. Did I want to say this part? Yeah, they say that they only confirmed it for DC, direct current, and not alternating current. So direct current would just be one direction as opposed to both back and forth. To sum it up, we have demonstrated the ideas that reference 3 of effectively changing the topology of space can be realized with magnetic fields, not only as an abstract paradigm, but by constructing an actual 3D spatial wormhole and measuring its properties. Our wormhole appears roughly as a sphere in most regions of the electromagnetic spectrum, including visible light. However, with respect to magnetic fields, the object allows the passage of field lines through its interior while being magnetically invisible. The situation is analogous to having a magnetic field propagating through a handle body attached to the R3 space, aka the ether. In this way, the magnetic field of the dipole entering one end of the wormhole would appear as a monopolar field at the other end. So, to close the idea out, they're saying that you are creating a magnetic dipole, a positive and a minus. And on one side, you're going to see an absorption. And on the other side, you're going to see the opposite, a release, positive, minus, right? So they're saying that we would see each side as a magnetic monopole. And that's what we see in the MH370 videos. We see one side, bloop, get disappeared, sucked in, this phase transition. And on the other side, bloop, we would see the plane come out. That plane is being teleported. That plane is 100% being teleported. Now, I want to read these other comments. When I start Googling it, sadly, I always find Reddit, but every once in a while, probably once in 100 billion comments that I read, I get one useful comment out there. And there was a thread, a rare thread about this particular paper. And this person said this. This is basically just a way to limit the magnetic field structure, the flux density. So the magnetic flux in such a way that it does not decrease inside the shell. Instead, it effectively is pushed through the tube because of the geometry available to the field lines. It's just high school magnetism. Field lines can't cross, be erased, or merge. A flux density is present inside the superconducting shell, and the outside ferromagnetic shell prevents the inner magnetic field from producing supercurrents in the superconductor. It cancels them out. So you can't decrease the flux density except spatially. And the tube gives it a way to do that. Geometrically, the field structure does look like the mathematics behind an Einstein Rosen bridge, a wormhole. Let's go, chat. Okay. If that went over your head, why I'm so excited, you'd be like, why are you excited for that, Ashton? So you just read a Reddit comment. Because Salvatore Pais. Salvatore Pais, guys. How does Salvatore Pais's gravity manipulation work? High energy electromagnetic fields in a condensed region of space-time. This is what Sal has been saying. When I read this paper, when I read those comments, and I just absorbed what we just read together, I went, holy shit. This is why Sal's freaking out. Sal's high energy electromagnetic field generator is probably basically the orbs jamming together. Orbs jamming together. I don't know if he imagined the orbs jamming together in that exact way, but probably something very similar to that geometrically. And he's realizing, he knows looking at that those plasmas are producing this non-thermal energy release, this phase transition, because that flux density of electromagnetic flux in that region is pushing out the 0 point energy. The 0 point energy that makes up space-time, that gives space-time its form, is getting pushed. It's getting reshaped. They're shaping the topology of space-time. That's the consequence of putting a huge amount of electromagnetic energy in a region of space. And so that paper is real. Whether or not the people that figured it out use that paper, probably not. But it's just, you're realizing many people are coming to the same conclusions. They're going, oh, we can just manipulate magnetism, and now the light is looking for a new path because we've created a bubble the light can't get out. So the light's looking for a new path to go. The light wants a new path. Where am I going to go? Oh, okay, I'm going to go over there. Well, over there's 1,000 miles away. That's teleportation. Teleportation is that you can look at it from an optical perspective, but I don't like looking at it from an optical perspective, because if I were to explain it optically, I would say it's cloaking. I would say it's advanced cloaking. That's what's happening. You're making a bubble and it's advanced cloaking, but it's so advanced that your object quite literally teleports. So saying that it's cloaking doesn't really do it justice, right? We wouldn't call teleportation cloaking. It's a lot more, it's a lot cooler than that, you know? Is this some schizo? You spelled schizo wrong. You should at least get your schizo right. Is this a schizo cult channel? Is that what it seems like to you? This is a channel where we talk about stuff that would normally get you killed. If you know, we're talking about stuff that you don't talk about in open conversation with people. Stuff that you normally talk about with people in hushed voices. That's the kind of stuff that we talk about. We talk about this stuff where it would melt your brain if you realized how much lies the average person absorbs without thinking twice about it, without even thinking twice about it. That's what we do on this channel, guys. Okay, now the main event, guys. Believe it or not, that's not why I brought you here. Not why I brought you here. No. But now I'm realizing I don't know if hold on. I'm afraid now that I'm going to get copyright striked. So let me download this video and I'll keep you entertained for a few seconds while I pull it up with the glare in my eyes. Okay. Let me set the stage for you here, chat. A few weeks back, I was watching, I think it was the science stream, the science video that had the Lockheed Martin patent on it. And in the Lockheed Martin patent video, it's one of these ones that, what's her name? Ana Emilio Estevez or whatever her name is. She's like the head National Science Foundation person or something. By the way, keep an eye on her, guys. I'll try to get her name right next time. Anyway, got to the end of that video, and there was this interview with this guy named Chance Glenn. Remember this name, guys. Chance Glenn. Oh, Ana Brady Estevez. We've got it. Sorry, it was Anna Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm just kidding, guys. We're going to call her ABE from now on. She has a new nickname. It has been dubbed by the Four Orbs crew. Ana Brady Estevez. I know you probably liked that name. That's cool. I'm glad for you. Your new name is ABE. Okay, ABE. Guys, everybody get used to ABE because ABE is definitely in the know about this exotic technology. No question. And we're going to see a lot more of her. She's young. She's upcoming. She's probably like MJ 12 right now or MJ 11. Like Hal Puthoff is MJ 1 and she's in the lower ranks. We're trying to work her way up. She's putting in the work. She's putting it in. So we're going to get ABE, out there, give her the proper recognition that she deserves. She's not ugly. I'm not going to say she's like a babe. I mean, she is ABE. And now that I think about it, adding a B would be a good name. But let's settle down. Let's settle down. Okay, Chance Glenn was the real thing that I wanted to talk about. And the reason why I wanted to bring Chance Glenn up is because he was talking about warp drives and manipulating space-time. And when I listened to him, I got the feeling right away that the guy wasn't messing around. And everybody who's connected to ABE probably is legit. Like, these are the people that they know that this stuff's real. And so they're only messing around with people who are also legit. And so when I heard him talking about manipulating space-time and heard him talking about it in a way that was consistent with 0-point energy and everything we've been disclosing and discussing, I was interested. And then just yesterday, I was looking on social media last night, and I see that Tim Ventura, friend of the show, hopefully I'm looking to have him on to talk on the podcast because he's talked to some pretty interesting people. He was interviewing Chance Glenn. And I want to play about 20 minutes of it because my Ashton sense was going off the whole time. Like, this guy he either knows the technology or he just like happened to also independently figure it out and he doesn't realize that like everybody knows. So I'm not really sure what it is, and I want to get your guys' impression. And at the same time, we're going to use it to teach the concepts of warp drives and wormholes as well, because he actually does a very, very good job. So good that you're going to see. He explains the concepts that we're seeing in the videos. Okay, I don't know if this... Okay, here we go. Looks like it just finished downloading, or it is right now. Okay, another 15 seconds or so, chat, and then I'm going to play this. Oh, the first reason why I liked him though is because he calls it negative energy. He calls it negative energy. He doesn't call it exotic matter. And anyway, here we go. We got it. Let's do this. It's ready to go.
I'm Tim Ventura, and we're joined today by Dr.
Energy and energy to basically mathematically show that if you could provide energy and energy density of a certain form, then you could distort space-time. And that was this Alcubierre metric, and what has happened. Dr. Sonny White has kind of added to that with talking about how to reduce the energy requirements. However, the one big roadblock in all of it was that the requirement was for negative energy density. Now,
my guy is like hitting every buzzword that I could have hoped for right now. Name dropping Sonny White. He's calling it negative energy right off the bat. I mean, here you go, right? He's referencing Miguel Alcubierre's warp drive metric. How many times do I have to tell you guys? The answer turned out to just be Miguel Alcubierre's warp drive metric. That was it. That was it the whole time. That was the answer. We don't need other papers to figure out how warp drives and stuff work. That's the one. It works. That's the right one. So when I see this, we're only 2 minutes in. I've only played you guys 30 seconds of this guy. I'm already convinced he's legit.
When my first foray and sticking my toe into this whole thing, number one, I'm very interested in science fiction. I'm a big Star Trek fan. I've always looked to try to develop technologies that had something to do with Star Trek, all that. So obviously warp drive caught my interest. And I looked at the outcome, some of the results from Dr. Alcubierre's work, and introduced this idea that if you had a complex shaping function, and that being having a real and imaginary part, with the imaginary part being greater, then if you work through the math, the energy density requirement would no longer be negative. That was my first. And
so I had a big revelation during this interview with this guy, or listening to this interview, which is we might not actually need negative energy at all. We might not need negative energy at all, chat. I can already hear you've been saying we need, Ashton Ford's been saying we need, actually, they're not going to even do this because the debunkers don't understand science. So that's the one angle they can never attack me on, which is hilarious. But we might not need negative energy to do this. We might be able to use just positive energy to achieve the effects of negative energy. Why? Why does this make sense? Because the orbs in the MH370 videos, they're not doing a full Alcubierre metric. The orbs in the MH370 videos are just pulling themselves forward. They're not contracting space in front of them and expanding space behind them. They're just doing one or the other. They don't need to do both. That was the thing that always weirded me out about the orbs. And then the zap isn't just negative energy. Why? Because if the zap was just negative energy, we wouldn't have these orbs crashing together. The orbs are crashing together because they're producing a huge amount of positive energy. They're producing a huge amount of positive energy. So we might be using positive energy to achieve a negative energy outcome. And when I thought about that, I went, wait, wasn't there just a paper recently that talked about positive energy warp drives? And I haven't gone back and reread it. I think I read it when it came out like a year ago or whatever. I'm going to go back and reread it because I have a feeling now. Now I'm going, what was that one about positive energy warp drives recently? Okay, I'm going to show this T-shirt right away. I'll put the link in the description. Oh yeah. We're branching out. We're branching out. I've got another one I'll show in a second. I'm going to let this clip play here.
Mathematically, it worked. And then I began to concoct an experiment because I found a material that had a complex dielectric constant, is a material called ethylene glycol. And electroengineers don't like this kind of stuff because it's lossy. But what it did was show that the energy density values would turn from negative to positive. Now, in the experiment, I was not able to generate enough power and ultimately energy density within this chamber that I concocted that held this material in order to get anywhere close to even showing that this would work. But again, mathematically, it is a solution. So then I started to think about, well, what is a way to increase the energy density? And that is, energy density is about putting a lot of energy in a really small volume of space.
Here we go.
That's, and the higher you, the more you do that, either the smaller space or the higher the energy, that's how you increase the density. So I started thinking about ways to do that, and a spark gap came to mind, because you can generate very high energy levels, but also if the area or the volume of that space where the spark is formed is small, then the energy density. The other thing I discovered.
Okay, now, I forgot, oh crap, what's his last name? Chase Glenn, Mr. Glenn. Wait, you're adding a spark gap? A spark gap? Isn't that what we use to produce plasmas? Yeah, I think that it is. I think that you use spark gaps to produce cold, non-equilibrium plasmas. Fact check me, chat. Fact check me. Now I'm really interested. So he's shooting a laser through a spark gap at a 90-degree angle. So you've got a spark gap, positive and a minus charge. So you're shooting this electric current through here. And then you're shooting the laser perpendicular through that. And guess what happens when you do that, chat? It causes the interference pattern to shift, meaning that the light is taking a different path. It's taking a longer path to get through the interferometer. What does it mean if it's taking a longer path? It means you've manipulated space-time. You've manipulated the gravity of it. We're going to have George Howard join us sec. Let's see here. I'm gonna do one more segment of Chance here, because so now we look at his experimental setup and what he's doing, and we realize, wow, this is a lot of connections to exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for something plasma-based, cold non-equilibrium plasmas, and this is exactly what he's saying that he's showing. He's able to see, and he's going to come out with a paper soon that's going to experimentally show curvature, gravitational curvature, and we're going to pump it. We're going to pump it like crazy because I know he's legit. I know he is. My only question is, why is he being allowed to push this? That's my bigger question.
Through the equations is that the negative energy density fell out of Alcubierre's treatment because he was trying to both compress and expand space-time within this same quote-unquote bubble. And in the back, you're expanding space-time, and in the front, you're squeezing it. Now, compressing space-time happens within nature all the time. That's what gravity and matter does this. Mass does this. It compresses space-time. It is the expansion of space-time that calls for this negative energy density. Now, you could make something move by either compressing or expanding space-time. So let's just try compressing space-time with a lot of energy density. And that is what led to the experiment. And so this experiment has, in order to try to detect whether space-time had been distorted, we needed an interferometer, a laser interferometer, which is a benchtop type of, almost think of some of the LIGO experiments where they detected gravitational waves, now compress that down to a desktop.
Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because we're going to get George Howard to join in a second. But so he's saying there, implying, and he says in a minute, we may skip over it, that we only need one aspect of it. Miguel Alcubierre's metric compressed space-time and expanded it. We don't need both effects. Either of those will pull us forward, compressing or expanding space-time. And it turns out if we can't do negative energy, then let's just focus on the positive energy side. And it turns out, how do you compress space-time? You compress space-time by adding a bunch of mass. If you add a bunch of mass, you can compress space-time in front of you. You can compress space-time.
Could account for such a thing. And, vibration obviously is one. But one of the things that we really had to overcome was index of refraction change. That was one thing that we had to, and that's why, number one, we used the two different laser wavelengths and showed, and I have a paper that has this entire experiment. It should be coming out any day now in the European Journal of
Look for this paper.
Engineering and Technology
European
Research.
Journal of Engineering Technology.
That's the name of the journal. You should be able to find it by Googling that name. And I expect it to be coming out this month.
Okay. Because I'm going to miss something, I'm probably just going to say everything right here, and then we'll just see how much we get through. I'm going to try to do as much as I can off the top of my head from already watching this. So he's got this interferometer set up. He's already experimentally shown the curvature. He's seen the curvature happen. And what he's decided is that we can produce it with just positive energy. And he does not believe we need metamaterials to do this. Tim Ventura asks him about Jack Sarfati and the metamaterials. And he says metamaterials could do this, but we can actually just manipulate space-time itself and change the properties of space. He kind of dances around it, but not really. He kind of says, okay, well, we can generally just manipulate the space-time itself in order to produce these types of effects. I'm trying to think of what else he was saying. Shit. You know what? We're just going to go through it.
It is a pulse that we can modulate and change its pulse repetition rate.
Oh, okay. So the other big thing is this. He says that what causes these gravity waves is a change in the energy density. This is super important. Get ready, chat. A change in the energy density of the space-time. So we've got our sponge. What causes a gravity wave? That's what causes a gravity wave. The squeezing is what causes it. It causes a ripple. Just like throwing a rock in the water. The rock going in the water causes a ripple. So what do I want to do if I want to propagate high-frequency gravitational waves? Pulse the current. So what he says is he has a spark gap, and he pulses the current through the spark gap. He changes the frequency, the resonant frequency in which he's pulsing that spark gap. And he changes that. And what does he get out? High frequency gravitational waves. That's what we get out on the other side. So he just shoots the laser beam through it, pulses his spark gap, and then we're able to actually produce gravitational ripples. And he can change that pulse frequency, that chirp, so to speak, to manipulate and modulate for that effect. So yes, in a sense, you're making gravity, but here's the thing. You're not really making gravity because gravity is not a thing that you're making. Gravity is the difference between energy densities in space-time, and we already know that. The more mass there is in a region, the more gravity there is. Guys, it's not complicated. It's normal physics. It's just normal physics. If you have a bunch of energy density in a region, it's even better than having your mass in a region. Mass is just energy. So look at it like this. And this is how he describes it. The secret is getting the energy into a small point. Why? Keep this in mind. Energy density is how much energy there is in a cube, in this cube of space-time. This little cube of space-time here that we're looking at, this has a bunch of energy in it. One of the ways is to make bigger and bigger lasers. Bigger laser, more energy. The other way is to make your cube smaller and smaller and smaller. The smaller you make your cube of space-time, the more energy density. So there's a trick. It's not just about making a more and more powerful laser. It's about getting those lasers to interact or intersect at the smallest scales, or in a very focused region, which is what makes the MH370 videos insane. Because we're seeing a giant plane on a huge scale this happened to. So this gives me hope that we can actually teleport something on a small scale, something like the size of a Coke can or a coffee cup. Theoretically, we should be able to teleport something like this. Okay, we're going to play a little bit more. And so I sent this to Shawn Ryan, even though I haven't sent him anything in a while, because when he was asked about Matt Livelsberger email, he said, oh, we looked into the gravity thing and it was all bullshit. Well, you're not looking very hard then, Shawn Ryan, because there you go. I'm showing you this guy, Chance Glenn. I'm telling you what, I'm 100% sure he knows exactly how it works. I know he knows because I know how it works, and that's exactly how it works. And he's on shows with ABE, guys. ABE, Shawn Ryan. How do you not know who ABE is? Everybody knows ABE. Anna Brady Estevez or whatever. Emilio Estevez. So.
Okay. And that, you know what? And it's good that you brought that up, because that part is very important, because my whole premise is that it is the change in the energy density from, say, 0 to whatever it is. That change is what initiated these gravitational waves that we believe we observe.
And that, again, you've done experiments in the past with ethylene glycol, and that was reminiscent of bubble fusion, right? Which is the similar thing. You're trying to increase that energy density. Yeah. As those bubbles collapse, you get these incredibly high pressure areas, right?
Well,
and so that...
Wow. Tim Ventura out of left field. Did not expect that from you, Tim. Wow. Just goes, hey, isn't this a lot like cavitation? Isn't this like sonoluminescence? Isn't this like when all of a sudden there's a huge pressure collapse in a very small confined region? Why we see this illumination? Why in sonoluminescence we see light come from sound waves? It's because of a pressure collapse, because of a bubble collapse. Yes, Tim Ventura, it is just like that. It is exactly like that. This is the reason why they had to hide gravity manipulation. You have to hide gravity manipulation. We're gonna pull my brother, my man George up here in a second. They had to hide gravity manipulation because it also connects to fusion and free energy. It's just they can't be separated. So, welcome to the chat live stream, George Howard. Oh wait, hold on. Why did I wait? Hold on.
That's that creepy guy.
There it is. Hey, how's it going, brother? How are you doing today?
Oh, it's going well. Thank you for joining Randall and me and the others earlier, Ashton. That was fun.
Yeah, so we're doing a quick plug here. Shout out to the Cosmic Summit. George Howard's the one hosting the event. I went out last year, had a great time, hung out for a few days in North Carolina, right? That's where it is. Yeah. And we even went to the club out there. The hotel was amazing, beautiful.
Thank you.
And looking
Food's
forward to getting
good.
back up there again. Go ahead.
Just said the food's good.
Oh yeah, and
Mhm.
all the food was great, all set up.
Mhm.
So I know that a lot of my followers have been interested and wondering, how they can get tickets and what they should do. I think there's a promo code for me, right?
Yeah.
Forbes? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's for 10% off the in-person tickets, right? And then we got another one for the virtual pass. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I wish we could give more than 10% off, but the economics are kind of thin on the thing, right?
Mhm.
But if you use Forbes as the promo code, you at least get 10% off. And man, it's shaping up to be a hell of a damn year. I always like to think you got to do things 3 times to be any kind of competent. So really, I should be after this one now, but it is the third one, and we're kind of getting it down a little bit. And we were able, what happens when you do an event, you can add more stuff and make it more interesting. So it starts out as just speakers, and that's interesting as hell because you've got the most interesting speakers on earth. But we've added some things, and there are 3 big reveals this year that are not speaker presentations per se. It's the fellows who scanned, the scientists who scanned beneath the pyramids in March and released that information, and it kind of stunned the world, and everybody shit talked them from left to right to kooky to mainstream, which I thought was kind of unfortunate. There's a tremendous amount of interest, but I think everybody wanted to know more. Everybody agreed on that one part. They just wanted to know more. And then they made a lot of premature takes on this stuff. But we're going to hear more. June 21st at 1:30 at the Cosmic Summit at the Sheridan Four Seasons Greensboro Corey Convention Center. They're going to take the main stage. It's not going to be a presentation per se. There'll be a presentation part of it. There's going to be a Q&A part of it. There'll be a press conference later, the only press conference they've done. I hope some of the press that seemed to take an interest in March follow up. And it's right after lunch. So that's one reveal. We're going to get to the bottom of the pyramids possibly.
So June 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
That's right.
So we're gonna have they got the pyramid guys that had the underground pyramid thing. So if you're interested in that, I mean, I know there was a lot of buzz around that. So I guess they're gonna have more information about that. It should be awesome. Okay, go ahead.
That's right. And more data. I mean, they literally have been further crunching the data, and a lot of it was very premature. They did not expect to go global with this. Hell, they hadn't even written a paper. But more there on other channels. So that is going to be, I think it's a really cool draw. The second big reveal happens to be the same day, that Saturday night at 9:00. We're going to have Michael Donnellan, who you just met on the other podcast. Yeah. And he is the producer and star of docu-series on Atlantis that has been produced and is being marketed now. And this will be its premiere outside of Spain. It is premiered in Spain. They gave them a 10-minute standing O. Now that's their home audience, but they gave them a 10-minute standing ovation, and I think we'll see the same out of the summit because Ashton, I've seen it. I've had to sign sign a thing, to be confidential, just as you'd expect with a premiere with big reveals. And man, it's incredible. I think the guys found Atlantis.
Really?
And when you run a conference,
that's the thing. Wow. Okay. So Saturday night we're gonna find Atlantis. Okay.
That's right. No, it's found, and I mean that in my humble opinion. And I wouldn't even say the conference is claiming that, but just me, George Howard. I've been studying this stuff for 30 years or more, and I think the guy nailed it. And so that'll be the premiere of that. And then the kind of the third new edition of the Cosmic Summit, which is cool and of a little bit different nature again than just people talking on a stage, is Matt Bell, who is a patron of these pre-dynastic Egyptian vases, is bringing a portion of his collection, perhaps a large portion, that'll be the largest collection of these things on public display, I believe, since Amenhotep was sticking them in the basement of the Step Pyramid. It's really, really neat. He's bringing some fantastic antiquities. And if people don't know about this, you're happy to, I don't know your audience as well. Perhaps they know these are miraculously perfect for the age that is attributed to them by the mainstream, which is pre-dynastic, like before the pharaohs.
I'm looking for mine. It's
do you have a 3D one?
Yeah.
I love it. We'll have plenty of those and real ones.
I don't know where it is at the moment, but yeah, it's normally sitting right around here. It's blue.
I put my little nicotine patches in mine.
Oh, I think it's right over here. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Yeah. Probably should admit that, but I don't think the 3D printed plastic ones are sacred by any means.
No, mine's sacred. Mine's sacred. Actually, he told me.
Oh, is yours sacred? God, if mine are, then I have defiled
mine's
them.
been sacred. It's because it's like been blessed by the four orbs, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, so this is a recreation of one of the things that I got to pick them up while I was there and interviewed with him, and he showed me
That's
that.
awesome.
You can feel it. And I think the thing that was impressive about the vases is that for me, even if you can come up with a way for like, how did they precision cut them, the weight of them, it was rock. It's rock. It's not like clay or something like that.
It's a big difference between making a piece of pottery and cutting something out of diorite granite.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Going, how do you cut this? What are you talking about? I mean, maybe there's some process that's intensive, like labor intensive or something that we don't know about, but no matter how I looked at it, it seemed incredibly impressive for the age of them. So
they attribute the two tools attributed to them for doing this is crude copper chisels and the like, and banging rocks on rocks. Right? Using another rock. Very difficult to make something a couple of millimeters thick so that you can see through it with a pen light and it be some of the hardest material on earth. It's just, they're incredible. So we've got those three things, which are pretty special. And then we got 27 speakers so people understand the nature of the event. On Saturday, we're going to have a field trip Friday night. That's going to be fun. We'll have a party late Friday night. Then Saturday, we'll start about, I don't know what it is, 8:30 or 9. And then we'll have kind of 14 speakers on Saturday and 14 speakers on Sunday. So really packed day, running to
water lady's going to be there, because if I'm getting up before 9 a.m., I'm going to need the water.
Oh no, I know. I'm the same way, man. It's very kind of tough on a guy like me. That's right. I hate the idea that I absolutely have to get up early both days on like big fun weekend. It's crazy, awful feeling. But so you have those 14 speakers on those 2 days, and that's the ticket you're purchasing when you buy a pass. And we got 6 different passes at cosmicsummit.com. Okay, and so there are 5 or 6 different ways you can attend according to affordability, all the way down to just getting food and no VIP and whatnot. But then we have a second ticket for Monday. You don't have to be a super fan, but if you're really into one of the speakers, a selection of them, 6 of them, and you can see that on the thing. Look under Classroom Day on the website. I won't bore you with each and every classroom, but for instance, Randall Carlson, who's a big favorite, will be doing a 3-hour classroom where you're in there with Randall, hands-on, doing sacred geometry. He's going to teach you some sacred geometry and have the geometry tools there at your hands and give you some. And another one's Scott Walter, another one's Ben Kirkwick. And then you, sir, and Bob Grenier, man. And I tell you, I'm excited for it. I mean, honest to God, you know how much I think of Bob and you, and particularly in combo. I mean, that's the dynamic duo. Bob is my guru, and you fascinate me. So that's on Monday. That's a separate ticket from the Cosmic Summit proper. Call it Classroom Day.
Is Flint Dribble going to be there? Because I only get my archaeology from approved sources.
Yeah.
Pseudoscience, as you know. Just checking. So Monday is going to be great, guys. I think that if you are the ideal person who's going to enjoy every aspect is going to be somebody that likes the ancient history aspect, something that likes the alternative sciences, that likes to explore the unknown, that likes to go against the grain. And
a lot about the past. We're looking at we're looking backwards.
Yeah. And then on Monday, we're looking forwards with Bob Grenier and I in the classroom. So you can hang out with us on Monday. And then, like you said, Randall's got his classroom on Monday as well. So you can interact with us. And I'm going to present some of the DIRDs and probably the Air Force Research Lab papers, why they're important. And let people just interact, and Bob's gonna be there with his researches and experiments.
Yeah, and it's funny, as I just said, it does look backwards. You are about the most forward presenter at the conference, because even Bob ties it all back to the ancients, right? Which is not your gig. I love your gig. Do not get me wrong, man. Nobody's into cold fusion more than this dude, and you know that for a fact. I mean, I've been doing it Actually, it's all weird how I happen to be, I've been cold fusion fanatic and friend of investors and an insider on the damn shit for 15 years. So nobody get me wrong how much I love Ashton Forbes and what he's doing with these subjects, not to mention MH370. But Bob ties it back to the ancients. So all of that is of a piece in Atlantis and lost technologies and a precursor civilization and a tremendous catastrophe, which is what got me into it many, many years ago, that without question happened, that we have published in mainstream journals called the Younger Dryas Impact Event. And that is the turning point into civilization, or from one form of civilization to another, or many different ways you can say it, 12,800 years ago. So we concern a lot of this stuff with the past. Bob brings it up the future and brings it to kind of modern tech implementations of what he believes were understandings of the past. And then you, sir, just shoot off into the, shoot off into it in the future and what may be existing right now, absent anything to do with the past, what we have now and what we might not know about what we have. And I love it.
Yeah, thank you. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to being there. I think that it's going to be a good time just to interact with the people that like normally you would only see online. And I'm looking forward to interacting with Randall Carlson, who I got the opportunity to talk to recently and learn about topics that I didn't know much about before. I think last year, one of the things I enjoyed the most was Sheila, right? Was that her name?
Yeah.
Sheila.
Yeah.
With the sound and the resonance, that actually is extremely relevant in physics, and it's been really relevant for idea of phase conjugation and manipulating gravity. So, that was one of the things I enjoyed the most. So, yeah, looking forward to it, and people should check that out and put in Forbes if you're gonna be there in person.
Yeah, let me give you one more tip that or your audience, not everybody can come, obviously. It's a fairly expensive ticket. I promise you, they ain't a big money maker. In fact, it hasn't made any money yet. But you can attend virtually. We call it the virtual pass. And you used to call it a live stream, and that is just a bad term. That's what we're doing right now. And that ain't right, because a live stream, you think, well, I buy this thing. If I don't watch it, I'm going to miss it. That's not what it is. It's video on demand. You buy it, you'll have it forever. But it's also, it's going to be cool this year. We're going to have 3 cameras where you're going to be able to see every presentation, all 45 hours. A lot of these things, a lot of conferences, business and otherwise, will sell you 7 speakers for $300 and stuff like that. It's unbelievable. And we're trying to democratize this, make it available as we can. So it's $50 if you use the promo 3 CAMS, 3 CAMS. When you go buy that $75 virtual pass, it'll get it for $50. So that's 45 hours, and then 3 different cameras will be going on. One of the speakers, and you can watch anything you like. A second one's going to be kind of a news desk where we're sitting people down, interviewing them, coming off the stage, that kind of scene, interesting audience members and featured guests, all sorts of interesting people like that. And Jay Anderson from Project Unity, a lot of your audience may know Jay because y'all have got some significant overlap, both very skilled in these communications. He will be manning the news desk a little bit with me and Beckett. And then we got a third camera where we're going to do some meta glasses and just walk around. Maybe Randall puts them on for a while.
Nice.
Okay. So you're looking from Randall Carlson's eyes for an hour or two. Maybe Randall then hands them off to Praveen Mohan from India, or whatever. Maybe Bob totes them for a while. So you're going to get a lot for that $50, and please buy it. It helps us out. We're trying to change paradigms just like Ashton is. And we got to have a physical place to get together. That's the idea of the summit. We can't cover all subjects. For those that we cover, a lot of people spend a lot of time sitting around looking at the computer screen. I certainly do. And our eyes bleeding watching YouTube. You need to get in the meet space with people. It's really cool feeling. So,
yeah. And I think I like the idea of the live desk. Maybe I'll come by there and check that out.
Please do.
And I'm glad that you're working on the live streaming part of it, because I think that's a big aspect to it. Everything's virtual now, and so people,
we can tune in and get the latest revelation of the pyramids. That's kind of worth hearing live. There are going to be some revelations. I mean, and then where's Atlantis? We actually won't be able to show the for obvious reasons the movie as it's being played. We're going to show some of it, but then we're going to cut off the video feed because they're going to have the scans of Atlanta, for God's sakes. And the thing, it's a premiere. So lot to be seen, virtual and in person, Ashton. Thank you for coming.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, George, for joining on my live
Thank
stream
you.
tonight. And I hope you have a great night, sir. Everybody check out the Cosmic Summit in a few weeks.
Thanks a lot, Ashton. I look forward to listening to the rest of the stream. I'm a big fan, buddy. Can't wait to see you in a month.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you, George Howard, for joining. So, yeah, just doing a little promo, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We're not done yet. We're actually going to go back and we're going to watch some more of this because I want to know more about wormholes. So, I did already give you guys kind of the rundown.
Tim Ventura.
But I want to listen to more of Chance explain the wormhole science so that you guys can understand how and why you can detect when people know about this stuff. And I think it's also extremely important that you all understand how this physics and how this science works. Let me hit a few of these donos too that came in before we had George come up. Levi says, this leads to standing waves and implosion, phi, etc., where Randall Carlson comes in. Yes. So this is where we're talking about implosion. We're talking about sonoluminescence. We're talking about how light can be pulled from the vacuum. Light. So we know space-time's not empty. We know the vacuum's not empty. And I was had DMs earlier today as well where someone was saying, oh, my friends are mad because you're calling it space-time and not the ether. Well, wake up, guys. It's an information war. I'll call it whatever I have to call it to get the answer out there. We call it vacuum for the normies so they can understand what we're talking about. You guys know I'm talking about the ether. Get your head in the game, y'all. Levi also says that's why they used the tube for that free energy experiment recently. Yes, this is why actually I have the clip for it right here. This is why Sonny White showed the design when he showed his free energy.
It's cool to think that, could come up with a technology that, provides useful power today.
The reason why he showed his microchip design had this spherical warp drive design to it is because they were looking into this idea of bending space and time. There's no way it wasn't just a side project. They know that free energy is tied to gravity.
Volts, 25 microamps. If we add a bunch of those together at a very large extreme, that particular board might generate 3.4 watts. And so that board could recharge your phone in 3 hours. And so imagine.
There you go. That board could recharge your phone in 3 hours. Still blows me away that Sonny White handed Joe Rogan a free energy microchip, showed him the prototypes, and nobody in the world seems to give a crap about it. DC, schizo-cultist, checking in. Thank you very much. And then Levi, talking to yourself is the first sign that you're schizo. Martin says, folks pushing doubt on X, wondering if you've already addressed these claims the plane is too small in the videos. No, there's nothing wrong with the size of the plane in the videos. Plane's perfect size, perfect overlay of the MH370 in the drone video or in the horizontal thermal or color FLIR. I got to start saying it right. Claim of masking over the HUD. There's no masking. There's no masking. Claim the speed is below stall speed. That's also wrong. I know where you've been getting your information from, Martin. You've been getting your information from Reddit. I know it. The problem is this, guys. Just like with the Matt Livelsberger email to Shawn Ryan, people are going to make up in their head an infinite number of reasons why they don't want to believe something to be real. So people who don't even know how math works, they don't know how geometry works. You can't figure out the stalls. The plane's flying under stall speed. The plane's flying low. The plane's flying, potentially landing. The plane's turning. There's a lot of factors that have to come into play on that. With respect to like the masking, the duplicate frame crap, as far as I've seen no evidence of any duplicate frames. If you resize a picture of a real Boeing 777 next to a slightly bigger size of the same Boeing 777, they're going to overlay because it's the same object that you were staring at a fraction of a second earlier. So the claim of duplicate frames is a pretty high bar, and that has not even been remotely close to met. Not even remotely close. So anyway, I appreciate those questions. Yeah, and I dubbed, what was that guy's name? Porvy, I think his name is. He's from Reddit, but I don't really consider him a Redditor. If you want to go have debunks addressed, go to him. Levi says it's all phi, which is 1.618, infinite compression ratio for negative entropy standing waves. If you don't get the brain through billions of years of disorder, this loophole is away. It's fractal. Probably true. Probably true. I don't care what it takes to make it happen. But if that's the case, that's great. The question from the physics perspective is, why is the Planck scale the smallest? Why is the Planck scale the smallest? What is about that makes it? My guess is we're going to find out it's connected to sacred geometry. Who cares, though? What, like, it's the same reason, like, who cares what aliens are? It doesn't matter what it is. Just great. That's the answer. Social Crusader. In 2015, I witnessed a white Tic Tac craft flying above NASA at Mount View, California. I assumed it was Lockheed Martin, or I assumed it was NASA's, but Lockheed Martin is their neighbor. Yeah, in fact, I'm changing my mind. We're just gonna react for the rest of the live stream instead of going back to what I already kind of reviewed. Invite Drunvalo. I can't even say these guys. You got to help me. You got to give me some names I can pronounce here, man. Drunvalo Majilic for the talk, and let him drop some truth bombs. Thank you for that donation. I don't know what that means, though. Okay, so instead, let's do this, because there's been some, we now just, I gave you the explanation for how we make gravity waves. Just change the energy density. Just add energy to a region. How do you add energy to a region? Well, you can just add more powerful lasers, or you can make your region smaller. Both of those will allow you to increase energy density. And one of those ways to increase energy density is using something called a coherent matter wave beam. Coherent matter wave beam will increase the energy density significantly. So when people say, Ashton, why do you think Lockheed Martin has the orbs? Why do you think Lockheed Martin made the Tic Tac? You're just some random healthcare guy. Why do you think Lockheed Martin has anti-gravity propulsion technology? Well, because I've been looking at their patents, and I understand their patents.
My colleague, Dr. Mo Arman, and myself, is really Mo's idea, but I helped him with that. This is a way of generating matter wave beams. So rather than a laser beam, it's a matter beam with fermions. And we're using our Harnaff-Bohm effect to put fermions in coherence, which sounds like, wow, that doesn't sound like that would work. Because you can modify the fermions with no energy exchange. And so we predict that we'll be able to put those incoherent and generate a beam. And people have done those with Bose-Einstein condensates, at very low temperature. But using one of those constraints, Lorentz invariance, well, that fermion condensate is a beam in a different reference frame. So in my mind, that shows you can build a beam out of fermions, a million times more powerful than a laser, plus atomic scale manufacturing and maybe transport of matter over a distance.
Nah, chat. Nah, fam. I can feel the vibes coming from my man there. That is Chase. Chase, what's Chase's last name? Hold on. Oh, Charles Chase, right? Charles Chase. That's Charles Chase. And Charles Chase is downplaying what seems to me to be one of the greatest discoveries I've ever seen. He's just straight up saying we can take matter and vibrate it down into a laser beam. I mean, what? One of the special things about light is that it's a boson, meaning light can collapse down onto a single point. Matter can't do that as far as we know, but it can now. That's what he's saying. He's saying matter can condense down onto a laser, into a single point. And this allows you to stack huge amounts of energy density. Because why? Because E equals MC squared. E equals MC squared. What this means is that matter has a huge amount of energy in it. And so if you can stack the matter together, now you're stacking energy density way more efficiently than a laser. So when he says that the coherent matter wave beam is 1,000,000 times more powerful than a laser, he's saying the energy density is 1,000,000 times higher. And that's exactly what we're looking for manipulating space and time. It's exactly what we're looking for. And if you connect that back to what Chance was, these are confusing me. Yeah, what Chance Glenn was saying. Chance Glenn was saying, we don't need to find the negative energy. We can use a positive energy laser. A positive energy laser can do this. We can use positive energy to achieve these effects. I would almost guarantee that the coherent matter wave beam is being used to manipulate gravity and probably other functions as well. They might be using it to make super advanced microchips. They might even already be working on Star Trek replicators. So, yeah. What else did it say on that? Let me take a look here. Oh yeah, and then you can see the teleportation as well. So he talks about that this can be used to transport matter over a distance. If we actually are seeing macroscopic phase conjugation, then this effect from the coherent matter wave beam is just scaled up. They just scaled that effect up. I think it's more complicated than that, though. You guys can see this? Good. Let's go with this. So here's Eric. Wait, where's Eric Burleson? Here's Congressman Burleson.
Tic-tac.
And now I'm just going to say it because I'm already on the record saying I've spoken to Congressman Burleson before. I think he's like the only congressman that I've spoken to directly, actually. And I like him. I think he's honest. I think he's kind of in the dark on this UFO stuff. I think he doesn't really know what's going on with it, but I think he's kind of open-minded to it. I'm afraid that he's prone to psyops, though. I'm afraid that he's going to get psyoped. But this clip right here gave me some faith.
I've had two people come to me that say that the Tic Tac is a Lockheed Martin creation. The latest person that came to me says he has video of the first, second, and third iteration of the Tic Tac, and he's going to show me. So I'm trying to set that up. The way he describes it is that
Pause, chat. Pause. What? Congressman Burleson's just casually, he's on Tim Pool with Tony Merkel, and he's just casually going, two people have told me that his Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin, and somebody's got video of it? Video? Somebody's got video that's going to show Congressman Burleson gravity propulsion by Lockheed Martin. This is pretty big, right? Am I tripping here? I feel like this is bigger news than all the UFO hearings to date combined. This is exactly what we need. We need some way to connect Lockheed Martin to exotic propulsion technology that everybody's going to think is alien. Okay. Keep going, Congressman. What else you got for us?
You know, they had a prototype. They've made changes to it. They've made it more advanced.
They have a prototype and they've been making changes to it. I mean, what is this? Where's this coming from? This is just coming out of left field. This is the last thing in the world I expected, is to have Congressman Burleson just being like, yeah, Lockheed Martin's got it. I've got whistleblowers. We're ready to blow the doors off Lockheed Martin. Okay.
And then now it's in iteration number 3, which I did see a photo of, and it looks like pretty advanced military like craft, like a plane, but it's clearly human made. It's nothing that I've ever seen, you know, our military has, but his claim is that they have discovered a propulsion that's a new type of propulsion. They used it in the first iteration, which was the Tic Tac. They have an intermediary one that they are more advanced with, and then now they're putting it inside of what looks conventional, so that it's not obvious.
Disguise. Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying eventually the tech makes its way into things that we're already familiar with.
Well,
right. Wow. Damn, this is crazy. Tim Pool is like on the cutting edge of disclosure right now. How is Rogan fallen so far? It's actually insane how far Rogan has fallen on the UFO topic. Like almost out of the limelight entirely. And instead you got Tim Pool really breaking like the cutting edge of it with like quantum tunneling, faster than light communication he was talking about recently. Now he's got Burleson out here saying that the Tic Tac was Lockheed Martin technology, which I've been yelling from the rooftops it was Lockheed Martin technology. Because I mean, who else's technology is it? That's what everybody's been saying is Lockheed Martin's the one that got the UFOs or tech or whatever it is, right? And then I had this. I think it's this one. Yeah, here it is. This clip ready to go.
With Commander Fravor the other day, and he shared some information that came to him that was just, email style. But George, it was passage material. And I don't know if people on our podcast know what that means, but sometimes in SAPs or special access programs, they have what they call passage material. It's material that is leaked to people. But the thing is
so this is what you cannot trust Jeremy Corbell. You just cannot. If you listen to what Jeremy Corbell just said right there, you cannot trust him, period. And before I do that, yes, Joe Rogan did have on Hal and Sonny White. So what? They didn't say shit. They made no waves. Basically, everything that Hal Puthoff said was something he's already said before, prepackaged. There were some little, Easter eggs in there for people like you and I, but not much. I wouldn't go out of my way with it. I mean, there's nothing compared to Burleson saying that, the Tic Tac was Lockheed Martin. He's got multiple people ready to blow the whistle on it. That is way, way bigger. And what Jeremy Corbell just did, though, is that he poisons the well. He says, Commander Fravor got this information, but don't listen to it. It's fake. It's passage material. What do you mean it's passage material? How are you determining? You're Jeremy Corbell. You don't know shit. If you are an independent journalist, when something comes up, you just say what it is, and then you give your opinion on it. You don't come in and say, yeah, this information's fake, but now here you go. Like you're doing that because you're selling something or your bias. You're showing your bias, your motivation. And of course, what is the information? Go ahead, Jeremy.
That this material is being passed around to people like even Commander Fravor, where they're trying to kind of convince him that Lockheed Martin, as an example, had some sort of similar technology to what he saw. First of all, he laughed. He's like, if people knew my job right now, they would know that I know that is not true.
Yikes, chat. How well did that one age? That one's aging like spoilt milk right about now, isn't it? Doesn't look too good that you are poisoning the well, saying there's no way that it could be Lockheed Martin technology. The CIA was literally telling Commander Fravor it was Lockheed Martin technology, and Jeremy Corbell is trying to fight that and say it's not. It's pretty damn weird. Pretty damn weird. He's trying to say that it's passage material. Now, I want to add something. This is a rumor. I don't know this to be true for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised. The CIA person that told Commander Fravor is supposedly Ron Pandolfi. Ronald Pandolfi of the CIA. He's the one playing games behind the scenes with everybody. And he's also in Stephen Greer's ear as well. Ron Pandolfi is way more connected to all this bullshit in the CIA in the background than what the public really understands. And there's probably more Ron Pandolfis out there as well. So I don't really know who's playing who on what side. I don't really even care, to be honest with you. But Commander Fravor was apparently told that they've got this Lockheed Martin, this technology. And Congressman Burleson is saying that they've got this new form of propulsion. Well, what do you think that new form of propulsion is going to be, chat? Let's go ahead and throw our bets out there right now. We already know what the new form of propulsion is going to be. Here you go. It's going to be this. Wait, oh, wait, there it goes. That's it right there, chat. That's your new form of propulsion. You're looking at it. A unidirectional warp drive. A warp drive that just uses positive energy to produce thrust in a single direction by manipulating the energy density of space-time. Really that simple. Manipulating the energy density of space-time. And the clip I did not play from Chance that I'm probably not going to be able to find right now is where he talks about the reason why he says he likes Jack Sarfati's idea is that he says you can treat space-time like a medium with a refractive index change to it. And that's basically the same thing Jack Sarfati's saying is the secret to this is changing the refractive index of space-time. That's the unifier between this. So we are predicting right now that Congressman Burleson, if he does reveal a Lockheed Martin video that shows propulsion, presumably in infrared, it's going to show endothermic propulsion in front of the object, not behind it, in front of it. I've said this before this revelation, by the way. I've said that the next big thing that's going to come out is going to be endothermic propulsion. They're going to show a UFO that's showing this unusual propulsion that's more than just floating around. You're going to be able to see the contraction of space-time, just like we were seeing in that clip. You're seeing the actual contraction of space-time, and it causes condensation. It causes fog. So if you were to actually see that, you would probably see it as lines of fog. And that's why you see it dissipate so quickly. Why does it dissipate so quickly after the orb goes past it? Like you can already see the lines kind of dissipating. They dissipate very quickly because it's just like fog interacting with the air. So let's finish this clip back up.
So it was just, he said it to me as like an alert. Have you seen this before? And I said, I have. Do you understand what's happening, Commander? And he goes, I do. So basically, it's a really interesting story, and it has a lot of real information in it. But there is a core fake information in there. They call it passage material. It was eventually, I can backtrack.
Okay, that's as much as I can listen to Jeremy Corbell. So two things about that is that you can tell that some of these people are biased and they can't put their biases aside. And this is why they weren't ever able to solve any of this thing. And the other thing that's absolutely absurd is the idea that Commander Fravor would somehow be read in on Lockheed Martin UFO technology. I don't even know where to begin with how absurd that is. Commander Fravor is not even in the stratosphere of being in the know and need to know situation for that kind of technology. He's not special forces. He's not even highly ranked enough to be read in on that kind of thing. You guys are out of your minds if you think that Commander Fravor knows about gravity manipulation technology. Bro, I don't care if you've been in the Air Force for like 30, 40 years. You are not going to be exposed to this if you're just a normie military person. Like never you're going to be exposed to this. And I mean this with the utmost respect to our veterans. It just is how it is. If you're not going through the green door, you probably have a very, very low probability of being exposed to any of this technology at any point in your service. Just is what it is, fam. Let me hit up a couple more of these donos. Upvote or wait, what? Yeah, you guys better hit that upvote, fam. Hit that upvote. Okay, Levi, thank you for the 3 donos, brother. But okay. Yeah, so he's got some equations here. Check it out. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for those donations, man. Now, going back to Twitter.
I've had 2 people come to me that say
there's more as well. So here's the source for how James Clapper might be the one who allowed for us to see the MH370 videos. Right there. This configuration where they changed a unified infrastructure probably made it so that Edward Lynn accidentally had access to the videos. There you go. This is another good clip. We're going to play this.
The most lethal weapon is right between your.
Steve Kwast Lieutenant General Steve Kwast. Now, he is in the know, definitely, 100%. This man right here knows about technology. Listen to this.
The most lethal weapon is right between your ears. And if I can influence what's going on between your ears and what you see is true and what reality is, I can shape that so that you act in my best interest, not in your best interest. Our government tells us stories about what is true, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, and we all believe it because we love our country. We want peace, prosperity, and health for us and everybody on the planet. But there are perverse incentives for big companies and governments to weave a tale that deceives the population to perpetuate the wealth, control, and security of a very small group of people that are getting rich on the current methodology. This is the trap of history, and this is why no civilization has ever survived. The great hope of America is that we can turn the tide of human nature and we can start innovating again. Because if we don't, we're dead men walking.
Man.
The most lethal weapon.
Okay, I can't pause that. Wow. That's what this is all about. In fact, maybe we'll end it there for tonight, because that's what all this stuff is about. Is that the battle is for our minds. The battle is to get us to think the way they want us to think. And they've brainwashed the majority of the population already. And what they've done is they brainwashed us to ignore the ether. They brainwash us to ignore the 0 point energy. They brainwash us into thinking the 0 point energy is insignificant. You can't manipulate space-time. Don't even think about that. You can't manipulate gravity. No, it's impossible. We can understand everything else about science and physics, but we have this major blind spot on gravity. Just could never figure it out in the last 70 years. Didn't really try, couldn't figure it out. And not only have they brainwashed us, but there's an elite group of people who are very connected and in the know, who know that this is happening. They're not saying anything about it, and they are making themselves rich in the process. They are making themselves generationally wealthy, generational wealth from this insider information about this, because they have been blessed by the intelligence community and the people that decide who wins and who loses. The game is rigged from the top down. So for the people that were like the Occupy Wall Street people, it's 1,000 times worse than you even imagined. We are at the worst possible scenario you could ever imagine. Everything is fake. Everything is manufactured. All the winners and the losers are already pre-decided. All pre-decided. And they can destroy you if they want. They can make you into a king if they want. They can do whatever they want. And they have everybody believing whatever story and narrative they sell about any event that occurs. How am I still alive, chat? How am I still alive, right? It must mean that there are some good people amongst them that know the truth that also want it out. There must be factions within the know, some that want it out, some that are greedy that want to hoard it. So we are in a complex situation. We are in a complex situation, and the adversary, they're not our enemies, they're our adversaries, are willing to break the rules to win. They're willing to break the rules, and they have unlimited power. They have unlimited power. They have control over the media. They have technological power, absolute dominance, and they're willing to break the rules. The only way to defeat an enemy like that, you have to be unpredictable. You have to focus and choose your attacks wisely. And you have to be ruthless. You have to be a monster yourself. You have to be ruthless. You have to be willing to destroy anyone that stands your way. Even your best friend, even somebody you look up to, even a hero. You can never be successful in a battle like that unless you're willing to risk everything. Everything. And hopefully that's what I've been doing. Certainly trying. We have 2 videos that we will never get another opportunity like this. They've closed the gap that allowed these videos to get onto the internet. They've closed that gap. There will never be another situation where videos like this leak onto the internet, most likely. Almost impossible. And we have absolute proof. We have Gorgon Stare. We have Gorgon Stare. Can't be denied. That is Gorgon Stare. Nobody can deny it. Nobody can say anything. It doesn't matter what people think about the video. It's Gorgon Stare. It proves it's real. It proves that every single debunk about the videos is fake. It means that every single debunk people have tried to use on these videos has been fabricated or misinterpreted or what have you. Absolutely incredible. Magnetic wormholes, guys. Magnetic wormholes. And the reality is this is dangerous. This is dangerous. This is the biggest leak of intelligence in the history of the world. It's the biggest leak of intelligence. It's the biggest national security leak ever. Ever. And the sad part is that's what it takes for us to live the way that we live, where we don't worry about stuff like that. For us to live this privileged life that we live here in America, dirty, unforgivable stuff like that happens. That's not the only time we've done something unforgivable. In fact, Matt Livelsberger's email, the Cybertruck bomber, his email said part of the reason why he was so distraught because he saw us commit other war crimes and cover them up using gravity propulsion technologies. That's the sickest part about this. That's the part where I can't sleep at night because I sit there and I wonder, like, holy shit, this is horrible, but this is the reason why I've been able to live this privileged life my whole life and why all of us in America can and why we will continue to be able to. Now, there has to be some line that's drawn somewhere where we say, this is too far, man. This is too far. You can't hide teleportation technology. You can't hide free energy technology. They've been hiding fusion for who knows, decades. And you can't hide targeting a civilian airliner after the videos leak on the internet. You got caught. Just accept responsibility. You got caught. It's the biggest leak ever. It's never going away. Those videos are always going to be real. And they are never, ever, ever going to be forgotten about at this point. So, MH370X, I love you guys. I love you guys. And I think let me take a look. What I thought I had one for us tonight. Take a gander at my bookmarks here. Oh, no, I think that's it. I think we're going to call it for there for tonight, guys. So, guys, next week, Labor Day. I'll have a big live stream on Labor Day. Probably going to dig back more into MH370 and the evidence. And then next week, I'll be at the Cosmic Summit, or at Contact in the Desert next week. So there won't be a stream on Friday. I'm going to try to put out some content this weekend, including, I haven't decided if I'm going to publish the letter from Ross Coulthart to Scott Roeder, but I think I'm going to make a video response and reaction to that this weekend. So thank you guys. Have a great night. Peace out, MH370X. I'll put a link to the Discord in the chat for y'all. Later.
Infrared eyes, scanning the black, tracking the heat, never turning back. Control 22, a covert gaze. Control 33, in the cosmic maze. Controls in the mix, secrets untold. Silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interests, far and wide. As Pierce, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting unseen yet feared the most. With precision and speed, they warn of danger, keeping us safe from the missile's anger. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. And roles in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest far and wide. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar,